Hi Booktube, I'm Marilyn Maya, and this is Princessa Jasmine, my 15-year-old Havanese companion. And today I'm doing a tag, or we're doing a tag. It's called the Soggy Expat Book Maniac Random Book Tag. Let me make sure I got that right. The Soggy Expat Book Maniac Random Question Book Tag. And this was, I was tagged in it, and this was, they did it together, and they made up the questions together, and it was a very lovely and funny video. So let's go on, let's start. Okay, number 1, cold soggy fries, yay or nay? Nay, nay, nay. I don't even like hot fries that are made in the US. I like fries that are made in Paris, but since I can't go to Paris very often, I don't really eat fries. But if I was in Paris, I'll eat fries. Okay, but soggy fries? No. 2, have you ever lived abroad? If not, would you? I was born to be an expat, and that's the reason why I'm doing this tag. I've been an expat in first Spain, then when I was 23, I can say I was an expat in Hawaii, but we're a state, so I guess I can't say that. I've been an expat in the Philippines and Japan. Is there any other place I've been an expat? Puerto Rico, but that's also part of the US. Okay, so why was I born to be an expat? I've never felt at home at home. I've always known from a very young age that I wanted to be somewhere else, anywhere else. Though I love New York, that's the funny part. I was born in New York City. Maybe it's because my father was born in Puerto Rico, and my mother's family, my grandparents were born in Europe, in Poland. So maybe I just have that blood in me that wants to just travel and live other places, which is different than just traveling. Okay, number 3. A trip you took and would like to take because a book or author made you want to see it in person. I have to say, Pico Ayer, he's a wonderful travel writer and writer in general. And his book, Video Nights in Kathmandu, I'll try to have a picture over here of the book. No, I didn't go to Kathmandu, but I did love his essay on the Philippines. And because my children are Filipino, I was able to get a visa, and I was able to actually study in the Philippines, doing my final project for my senior year in college, which was sort of a book-length look at women in the Philippines. So yeah, Video Nights in Kathmandu, still a wonderful book. I also read Jan Morris, and I loved her essays, Destinations by Rolling Stone. I'll put that here if I can. Okay, now 4, a book or author from Canada and or Wales you'd like to read. Even though Jan Morris was half Welsh, she was considered a Welsh treasure. So again, the book Destinations, and also I looked up a book. It's called Home to an Empty House by Alun Richards, the story of a marriage that has long since lost its sparkle. Walter, the wisecracking paranoiac, and Connie, teacher of the backward class, are a couple who know a lot about sex, but a little about each other. The Industrial Revolution is over, and the South Wales valleys are slowly but surely losing their identity. Walter is forced, through illness, to reflect on his flaws, while Connie attempts to sate her wanderlust. And that sounds like an expat book about wanderlust. And I also read How Green Was My Valley last year, and it was one of my Richard Llewellyn's classic, and it was one of my top 10 books, and that's about whales. So I'm looking forward to reading more books about whales. Okay, number 5, embarrassing parent story time. A time your parent, guardian, embarrassed you to the core and you're still recovering, or a time you were the parent. Well, my mother embarrassed me so many times that it would take a book, and has taken a book, to retell it. But yes, I think I have 4 children, and they will tell you that I embarrassed them multiple times. And one time that in particular that my son, my youngest son, keeps on telling me is when I spoke pidgin English to a Minnesotan bus driver. And let me tell you a little bit about pidgin English. It's an actual language, and I live in a part of Hawaii where there's a large population of indigenous Hawaiians. So you pick it up by osmosis. And when I moved to Minnesota to get my degree, I guess I kept a little bit of the dialect. And the story goes that we're going into a bus, and I said to the bus driver, which I didn't say it this way, but this is how the story is related, "Can I get one transfer?" And they ran through the bus because the bus driver just looked at me. He didn't understand what I was talking about. So I didn't say, "Can I get one transfer?" But maybe I said it a little bit like that. So they were very embarrassed. Now it's a family legacy, you can say. Okay, number 6, 1 or 2 other things you are a maniac about, aside from obviously being a book maniac. I'll say 3 things. One is dogs. I was never allowed to have a dog as a pet, and I never really, I was busy being an expat and not being able to really take care of an animal the way that I wanted to until recently. But 15 years ago, well, not 15 years, yeah, about 15 years ago, I was able to adopt 3 Havanese dogs. And they're all gone now except for Princessa Jasmine. And yeah, I love being a pet parent. I love all dogs. And when I went to Europe last month, I stop and talk to almost every dog I see, with the owner's permission, of course. And I even put up some pictures on Instagram of me talking to dogs and loving dogs. I love dogs. What else do I love? Dancing. I went to Spain at 23 to become a dancer, flamenco dancer, and it didn't come to fruition, but I did dance on stage, Latin American dancing, which that's what they called it. To me, it was just, I was a failure, but because no one would teach me flamenco at that time. This was, I'm talking 73. So I love to dance. I dance by myself. Now there's a whole program about dancing by yourself. I watch every dancing and singing show on TV, as my family will tell you. I will watch anything about dancing, anything about singing. I used to sing, I used to dance, and I still do. Okay, so that's number 6. 7, have you ever been hideously lost, literally or figuratively? This is a hard one because getting lost is one of my fears, and I have nightmares about getting lost. I used to get lost in department stores. I got lost on a hike once by myself, which was stupid, but I found my way back. But yeah, I get a panicky feeling when I get lost. I have an anxiety disorder that's pretty much latent at the moment for many years. In fact, when I went to Europe, it didn't rear up its ugly head even once, which was amazing, since a lot of stuff, we went a lot of places, and I actually missed a plane. So I'm very happy about it. But I used to get very lost, and I have nightmares about getting lost in New York City subways. I don't know why, because I never really got lost in a subway. I know my way around. So I've been literally lost all of my life, and that's why I've been trying to find myself by going to all these places. And I think I found my my Ithaca, my place of belonging in Hawaii. But that still doesn't make me not want to travel. I love to travel, and I'd love to live in maybe France one day, but I'd have to learn French first. And that is a hard language, but it's never impossible. Okay. 8, a memorable encounter with a stranger. I always believe that strangers are friends we haven't met yet. Since I had anxiety most of my life, and I was shy as a young child, I've taken advantage of growing into myself and being able to talk to strangers like I'm talking to you right now. So whenever I travel, I meet people. And I think the most memorable experience I've had, well, there were 2. One was I was going to England on a ship to promote my book, but I had no idea what I was doing. My publisher was in Great Britain, in London, and I met someone on the ship who we just started talking. He was sitting at my table, and he said that he would help me when I got to London, and he arranged all of my readings. It was just wonderful, and we're friends to this day, and he lives in London. The other one happened in London as well. I was going to Hull, which is North Yorkshire, and the trains kept on getting canceled. You know, they canceled each, and I wasn't going to make it on time, and I started having a panic attack, and this girl came over to me and sat down next to me, and we became good friends. She helped me. She got me on. I finally got to where I was going, but we were very, very good friends. And I think all the strangers that were on booktube that are now my friends, those are all memorable experiences, and I'm very grateful. Okay, now number 9, what did you want to be when you grew up? I wanted to be a journalist, then I wanted to be a translator in the United Nations, because I thought I was so good at Spanish because I never studied it. But actually I learned it also by osmosis, because my father, even though he didn't speak Spanish to my mother and I, he spoke Spanish to everyone in the neighborhood, in our house, on the phone, to visitors. So I picked it up and thought I was great at languages. Turns out I wasn't. Then I wanted to be a dancer, and that continued and a singer. And I did sing on stage. Jasmine, I want to say bye-bye. When I was very young. Okay, so that's what I wanted to be. So if you have now achieved that in real life, what's it like to be fantastically stable as an adult asking for a friend? I haven't grown up yet, so I can't tell you. I'm still a child in so many ways, or a teenager. No, I'm not stable. I just pick up and go places, and I'm very impulsive, so I can't say I'm stable. And I don't want to be stable. If stable means boring, and that's what it always meant to me. Okay, 10, are you a people watcher? Do you have good peripheral hearing? Share an antidote. Okay, I have two. No, well, this is part two of the question. In London, I was having high tea at Harrods. Doesn't that sound fabulous? It was the only thing I could afford in Harrods, but I was determined to have high tea. Well, next to me, sitting, was what appeared to be an Arabian prince or some Middle Eastern sultan, or, I mean, and he had two women with him. One appeared to be his sister, and maybe one was his wife, but I kept on sneaking peeks at them. They had many Harrods bags, and they were jewelry. I mean, they were jeweled from head to toe, silk all over, and yes, I was having the time of my life spying on them. And being a writer, you tend to listen to people. Okay, so the last question is about peripheral hearing. So that was more of a people watcher. I couldn't understand what they were saying, and they were very quiet when they caught me looking at them. This is a little embarrassing story, but my peripheral hearing used to be very, very good. Now that I'm getting older, it's not as good as it was. But I was 23 in Spain at a disco. Yeah, we called them discos then. And I was sitting at the bar, having a drink, you know, thinking I was cute. I kind of was cute. And two men walked in separately. And they knew right away, or I think by my clothes more than by the way I looked, that I wasn't Spanish, from Spain. And one said, oh, to his friend, how she's so beautiful. And I was like, And then the other one said the opposite, that I was hideous. And I'm thinking to myself, that's interesting. I'll always remember that, and I always did. So can you blame me for being confused all my life? No. Anyway, that's the end of the book tag, and I want to thank the Soggy Expat book nerd, and of course my friend, the book Maniac, Shawn, for tagging me. And I will see you in my next video. So say goodbye, Jasmine. She doesn't like me to. She wants to get out. So I'll say aloha.